There is a category of gardener you have probably noticed without quite being able to name it. They lose plants less often than everyone else. When something goes wrong in their garden, and things do go wrong, for every gardener, always, they seem to know what to do before the problem gets ahead of them. Their seedling trays don't collapse overnight. Their container plants don't develop that slow, mysterious decline that ends in a dead plant and no clear answer. Their fruit comes in clean. It is not luck. It is not better soil or a better climate or more time on their hands. It is knowledge, specific, practical, biological knowledge about what plants actually need to defend themselves and recover when defense fails. One piece of that knowledge is the subject of this video. And if you have a brown bottle of hydrogen peroxide sitting in your bathroom cabinet right now, you are closer to that category of gardener than you might think. What separates the ones who use it well from the ones who don't isn't access to the product. It's understanding what it actually does inside a plant. Why timing matters more than concentration, and the one discipline that makes everything else work. By the end of this, you will have all three. Think about the last plant you lost without understanding why. You checked the water, you checked the light, you added fertilizer, moved it to a better spot, waited, and it died anyway, slowly, confusingly, in a way that left you with no clear answer and no confidence that the next one won't go the same way. That experience is not a skill gap, it's an information gap. And almost every time it happens, the real cause was something invisible, underground, on the underside of a leaf, in the top inch of soil, something that a $2 bottle in your bathroom cabinet could have stopped before it started. Most gardeners who've heard of hydrogen peroxide in the garden know two things about it: that you can spray it on powdery mildew and it does something, and that it helps with root rot somehow. So, both true, both incomplete, because knowing a tool exists and knowing precisely when and how to deploy it are very different things. One gets you occasional results, the other gets you consistent ones. The gardeners who never seem to lose plants aren't using different products. They're using the same product with a level of understanding that makes it work every time. That's exactly what this video gives you. Before the first application, you need to understand one thing about why peroxide works. Because once you do, every use case makes immediate sense, and you'll never need to look up a recipe again. Hydrogen peroxide, standard 3% from the pharmacy. The brown bottle, under $2, is water with one extra oxygen atom, H2O2 instead of H2O. When it contacts a pathogen, the cell wall of a fungus, the membrane of a harmful bacterium, the body of a soft-skinned pest larva, that extra atom releases in an oxidative burst. Cell walls rupture. The pathogen dies on contact. Oxygen, no residue, no chemical film left in the soil or on the leaf. Just water and air. That's why experienced gardeners trust it where they won't touch a synthetic fungicide. Not because it's gentler, it's quite destructive to what it targets, but because what it leaves behind is exactly what a healthy plant needs. That single piece of chemistry is the foundation of everything that follows. There are 5 situations where this matters. Each one uses the same mechanism, but requires different concentrations and different timing. And getting those details right is the difference between saving a plant and accidentally making things worse. The first is fungal disease on the leaf surface. Powdery mildew is the most visible example. That white, chalky coating that spreads across squash, cucumbers, roses, and phlox in the second half of summer. But early blight on tomatoes, rust on beans, and the gray mold that takes down seedlings in damp conditions all respond to the same treatment. The oxidative burst ruptures the fungal threads on contact. It doesn't slow the disease, it destroys what it touches directly and immediately. The recipe for active fungal infection is more concentrated than what most guides suggest for prevention. 1 part, 3% peroxide to 8 or 9 parts water, roughly a cup per gallon, applied with a proper pump sprayer to both surfaces of every affected leaf, morning or evening, never in midday sun. 3 consecutive days for an active outbreak, then a gap, then a different preventative treatment. Rotating what you use is what stops the disease from adapting to a single approach. A single application of anything is rarely enough. The rotation is what finishes it. The prevention spray is gentler, half that concentration, applied once a week to high-risk plants before you see a problem. Squash in late July. Roses in humid weather. Any plant that has given you fungal trouble in previous seasons. You are treating the surface conditions before the pathogen establishes, which is always faster and more effective than catching up to an outbreak after it's taken hold. The second situation is fungus gnats in container soil. This matters more than most gardeners realize because the adult flies, those small, hovering black insects around houseplants and seedling trays, are almost entirely cosmetic. The real damage is underground. The larvae live in the top inch of moist soil and feed on root hairs. A heavily infested container shows the same symptoms as root rot, wilting, yellowing, failure to thrive, with no visible explanation above the soil lines. Gardeners replace soil, add fertilizer, adjust light, and nothing changes because they're treating the wrong problem. 1 part peroxide to 4 parts water, applied as a soil drench after the top inch has been allowed to dry out. The dry surface drives the larvae deeper into the soil where the drench reaches them. The oxidative burst kills them on contact. 2 or 3 applications, spaced about a week apart, combined with yellow sticky traps for the adults, breaks the cycle completely. The detail that experienced gardeners know and casual users miss, that same drench dissolves the fertilizer salt crust that builds up in old potting mix and pushes oxygen back into compacted, depleted growing medium. 1 application, 3 problems addressed simultaneously. Now the one that separates gardeners who save sick plants from those who keep losing them, root rot, is the most common cause of unexplained plant death in containers. Not underwatering, not pests, not nutrient deficiency. Root rot, the anaerobic fungal decay that develops when soil stays waterlogged long enough for oxygen to be displaced and for organisms like Pythium and Phytophthora to move in. By the time symptoms appear above the soil, yellowing leaves, wilting despite wet soil, sudden collapse, the root damage has typically been progressing for weeks. Most gardeners never connect what they see above the soil to what has already happened below it. Here's what the experienced gardener does that the casual gardener doesn't. They don't wait to see if it recovers on its own. They examine the roots at the first sign that something is wrong. Take the plant out of its pot, rinse the root ball gently under the tap. Healthy roots are firm and pale white or cream-colored. Diseased roots are brown or black, soft, and they carry an odor, not a soil smell. A faint, sour, swampy smell that tells you immediately that anaerobic decay is at work. Cut away every compromised root with clean scissors. Not some of them, all of them. Every root that is soft or discolored, regardless of how much you're removing. An infected root left attached continues spreading the pathogen to the healthy tissue next to it. Removing it isn't aggressive. It's the only way the plant can recover. Mix 1 part 3% peroxide with 2 parts water. Submerge the trimmed root system in that solution for 15 minutes. The fizzing you see is the oxidation reaction working, destroying the pathogen load on the surface of the surviving root tissue and flooding oxygen into cells that have been suffocating. After the soak, repot into fresh, dry, well-draining growing medium. Not rinsed old soil. Not the same mix with new plants added to it. Fresh soil, clean pot, proper drainage holes. The root rescue means nothing if you return the plant to the environment that caused the problem in the first place. On the first watering after repotting, add a mild peroxide. Drench 4 tablespoons per liter to oxygenate the new medium and clear any residual pathogen. Then change the watering habit. Root rot is a symptom, not a disease. The underlying cause is chronic overwatering or inadequate drainage. The peroxide saves the plant today. Changing the behavior prevents it from happening again next month. The 4th application belongs earlier in the season than most gardeners think about it. Seeds. Seeds packaged commercially can carry surface bacteria and mold spores. In the warm, moist environment of a germination tray, those organisms can establish before the seedling does. Soaking seeds in diluted peroxide for 1 to 2 hours before planting does 2 things. It sterilizes the seed surface. The oxidation reaction eliminates surface pathogens without harming the embryo inside, which is protected by the seed coat, and it softens that coat slightly, accelerating the embryo's access to moisture and speeding up germination. Harder coated seeds, morning glory, parsley, sweet pea, benefit most from an overnight soak. 1 teaspoon of 3% peroxide per cup of water, then plant immediately after. The result is faster, more even germination and fewer of those empty cells in the tray where nothing ever came up. The 5th situation is propagation in water. Cuttings rooting in a jar on the windowsill. Herbs growing in a small hydroponic setup on the counter. Warm, still, nutrient-rich water is almost ideal for the same. Pathogens that cause root rot. Biofilm builds on the glass. Algae clouds the water. Brown slime coats the developing roots. What should be a simple, satisfying method becomes a source of consistently lost cuttings. A small amount of peroxide in the water, about a teaspoon of 3% peroxide per quart, raises the dissolved oxygen level, suppresses the pathogens, and keeps the water clean. Keep the container out of direct light. Keep the water cool. Change it on a regular schedule. The cuttings, root cleaner, and faster in water that isn't actively working against them. If this is the level of practical biology you want, consistently, not what to buy, but why things work and when to use them. Subscribing is how you make sure you keep receiving it. This channel covers what actually happens in soil and in plants. That understanding is what lets you adapt when your situation differs from the standard scenario. One click keeps this in your feed every week. Now, the part that makes everything above actually work, and the part most often skipped, hydrogen peroxide is not selective. It kills the beneficial bacteria and mycorrhizal fungi that partner with your plant's roots right alongside the pathogens you're targeting. It cannot distinguish between them. In an aquaponic setup, a strong dose will harm the fish. In a container where you've recently added compost tea or a beneficial soil inoculant, a peroxide drench will destroy what you just applied. The discipline is in concentration and frequency. At maintenance levels, 4 tablespoons per liter for a soil drench, half a cup per gallon for a foliar spray. The impact on beneficial soil biology is real, but temporary. The soil recovers. At treatment concentrations used for severe root rot, you are making a deliberate trade, part of the microbial community, in exchange for the plant's survival. That is a reasonable trade. It should be a conscious one. Wait at least a week after any peroxide application before introducing beneficial soil products. Never spray in full sun. UV light degrades the solution before it works, and concentrated droplets on a wet leaf surface under direct sunlight will scorch what you're trying to help. Always patch test sensitive plants, orchids, begonias, thin-leaved tropicals, on 2 or 3 leaves before treating the whole plant, and understand clearly that standard 3% pharmacy peroxide is the only concentration you should work with directly. The 35% product sold as food grade is corrosive. It will burn skin on contact and destroy plant tissue at full concentration. The restraint is not a footnote. It is the skill. Knowing when to use this and when the problem requires something different. Knowing that peroxide treats symptoms while you address causes is exactly what separates a gardener who uses this effectively from one who reaches for it indiscriminately and wonders why the results are inconsistent. Here is what that calibration looks like when it's fully internalized. A prevention strength spray, ready through the growing season, applied on a weekly rotation to high-risk plants before any disease appears. Immediate escalation to treatment concentration at the first sign of fungal infection, followed by the 3-day protocol, then a rotation to a different preventative, soil-drenched before new plants go into it. Seeds soaked before they're started, roots examined and treated at the first sign that something underground isn't right. No panic, no overtreatment, no reaching for the bottle at every minor symptom. Precision, confidence, the knowledge of what is actually happening inside the plant when you act. That is the difference between a gardener who recovers plants and one who replaces them. You now carry the same understanding. The bottle is $2. Everything else is what you do with what you know.